Okay, this is now the 5 minute tarot for the 26th of May 2017. And today we're going to look at the first couple of cards in an actual Celtic Cross spread that somebody did, because he answered a question with a Celtic Cross and wasn't quite sure, or actually he wanted to know about giving practical information based on the cards that came up, rather than just a sort of general, weather forecast. He wanted to know what specifically could be suggested to the person. So we've got this fellow who wanted to know how he could improve his financial situation. And it's a question that probably a lot of people will ask. And there was a Celtic Cross spread done. And so the first card was the Seven of Cups reversed, and the second card was the Eight of Swords, which also happened to be reversed, even though, that's a thing I like to look at. If the bottom of the card, as you look at it, is on the right, it's upright. If the bottom of the card is on the left, then I sort of think, okay, it's kind of reversed, and that can give you additional information, but you don't need to follow that particular method. So card number one is the atmosphere surrounding the question. That's one way it was described by Eden Gray in her tarot book. And it's easy to look at the first card and skip over it. But if you make yourself stop and think, this is the atmosphere. So the atmosphere, think of a sales meeting where you've got a group of people in the room and they've got a new product that they're launching. So everybody's going to be excited, or they're keen and they've got ideas. That's one kind of atmosphere. Whereas you can have a group of teenagers and they're in a room, they're unemployed, they want to play video games, they don't see any point in working. And so you're going to have a very different kind of atmosphere. So the first card that you get gives you some idea of the atmosphere surrounding the question. Is it good or bad? Is it exciting, excitable? Is it matter of fact, or people? You know what I mean? It's think about the first card as showing the atmosphere. And we can understand that depending on the atmosphere shown by the first card, what's expected, or the mentality of the people involved, is going to be different in each case. So that when you know the atmosphere surrounding the question, it kind of sets the scene or sets the tone for the rest of the cards. So if the atmosphere is represented by the sun upright, that's confident and optimistic and has ideas and wants to get things going and will put energy into things. Whereas in this case, we've got the Seven of Cups reversed, which is not that enthusiastic, not that clear, we can say, but we'll get to that in a minute, because I want to make the point first that what you do is with the Celtic Cross, lay all the cards face down first and turn them one at a time. So you turn the first card and you do as much as you can with it, rather than have all the cards face up and try and put it all together. You're better off. I think there's more satisfaction for you, the reader, as well as for the questioner, because they're more informed if you take each card one at a time and do what you can with it and then move on to the next one. Partly because you the reader, already know that the eighth card, for instance, shows the influence of other people. So let's say the first card, the atmosphere surrounding the question, makes you think, or you and the questioner talk about other people and their influence, and other people and their input, let's say, to the question. That means that when you turn the eighth card, you've got some particular reason for looking at it. So it's no longer just the influence of other people, but you can relate it back to an idea or a question that you came up with at the beginning. So turn each card in one at a time, do what you can with it, and then move on to the next one. So we've got the atmosphere surrounding the question, and the question is, what can this fellow do to improve his financial situation? And the first card was the Seven of Cups reversed. So we look at it, we've got the fellow we see his back, and we've got these 7 cups with various stuff and bits and pieces in them, and there's 7 of them, but it's upside down. So what do we say? That the atmosphere surrounding the question, this may describe the questioner or his situation, and it's a bit like he's got too many choices, or he's not sure about what to choose or what to do, or he's not clear about what the different choices are. There's confusion with the 7 of Cups reversed. So it can be that practically, if the atmosphere is one of confusion and uncertainty, the first thing to do is become clear about what it is that you actually want to do or what's actually going on, or narrow down the options. Because each of the 7 cups can represent a different option, but it's upside down, so he hasn't thought it through, or he's not completely aware of what's involved with that particular option. So maybe what you do is you start with the idea, okay, he wants to improve his financial situation. Either get a job, or get a new job, or get a different job. Maybe in the work that he already does, or in a new area that he wants to explore. So if the questioner then starts thinking things through and making a long list and asking himself all sorts of questions like, okay, let's say he needs to get a job. Is it going to be in a big company or a small one? Because we want to be clear about what he's actually thinking about, or what's required for him to improve his financial situation. So does he want a job in a big company or a small one? Does he want a job around the corner where he can walk in a couple of minutes? Or does he want a job, or is he happy to take a job on the other side of town? And if it's the other side of town, is there public transport, or does he need a car? Does the job that he's going for, is it going to be skilled or unskilled? Is he using the abilities that he has at the moment, or does he need to develop new skills? Take a course, a night school course, for instance, or maybe learn a second language. It could be. Is he looking for a short-term solution, or does he want this new job to be step 1, let's say, in a whole new career path? Or if he doesn't want to get a job or be hired by somebody, let's say he wants to start his own company. Is it feasible? Does he have an idea? What can he do? What does he want to do? What does it take for him to start up? Does he have potential customers? Does he have some income to invest? Or does he have to do it on the cheap? So if the questioner can think through all these types of questions and make notes for the answer, then he's going to be in a clearer situation. And the thing is, just because, let's say you say, do you want a big company or a small one? And he says, I don't know. And they said, do you want to work around the corner, or do you want to work on the other side of town? And he says, I don't know. Just because he doesn't know right this second, or right at the moment of you asking the question, it doesn't mean that he'll never know, or that he can't know what his preference is, and so there's no point in thinking about it. This can be why the 7 of Cups is reversed in the first place, because he's got some vague idea that he wants to improve his situation, but he hasn't yet, or he has resisted thinking it through and being realistic and thinking about what he could or should do. So maybe, what does he want? Does he want to work for himself or for a company? So if he thinks about the possibilities and sees what he can come up with, or what he can realize, because realize can mean to make something real. So as he realizes what he's looking for, he's in a stronger position to actually make it happen. So that's the atmosphere surrounding the question, the 7 of Cups reversed. And opposite is the 8 of Swords. So the card that's the second card, the opposing force, it can be the antidote to the first card. If the first card shows problems, the second card can show the solution to the problems, or it can show what's going to make the problem even more complicated. So it's a bit like, if the first card's good, the second card can be good and support it, or it can be bad and oppose it. Or if the first card's difficult, the second card can be better, which makes it easier, or it can be a difficult card, which makes it worse. So here we've got the Eight of Swords, and it happened to be reversed in the method that I have told various people about. So what he's up against, partly he's up against his own lack of clarity and his own lack of clear thinking, but he's also up against people's sense of being unable to move, because the Eight of Swords is the people trapped. So they're stuck, or they're fearful, or you're up against a situation where some people are long-term unemployed. So if you haven't had a job for a long time, or you are aware of unemployment figures, it can make it more difficult to make a start or to get moving again. So the opposing force in some way makes the difficulty or the awkwardness of the Seven of Cups reversed more difficult, or makes it worse. And that can mean it makes it more important that the questioner thinks through and gets some clarity and some clear vision on what it is that he actually wants to do. So what do you do with the first two cards, the Seven of Cups reversed and opposed by the Eight of Swords? What do you do? Become clear first. And if you become clear, then you're going to discover that the obstacles, the opposing force, is actually weaker. Because one of the reasons that the Seven of Cups can be, or that the Eight of Swords can be the opposing force, is because you're not sure in the beginning from that Seven of Cups reverse what it is that you want to do. Once you know, or once the questioner knows or has a stronger idea of what he's looking for or what he wants to do, he's going to discover that the obstacles aren't actually as big or as powerful as he thinks they are, or as they are at the moment when he isn't sure about what he wants to do. Okay, that's the first two cards. So my idea is we'll look at, that's what we're going to do today. But later, tomorrow we're going to look at cards 3 and 4. So the third card that goes down below and is the foundation is the Wheel of Fortune. And the fourth card that represents the influence that's passing away is the Fool. So I was going to look at them tomorrow, but the reason I'm telling you this now is so you've got time to think about, in odd moments between now and tomorrow, what would you make of those two cards? What would you say is the nature of the foundation and the Fool as the influence that's passing away? And how would you tie those two cards and their meanings into what you would make of the Seven of Cups reversed opposed by the Eight of Swords? That's it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.